beautiful people, thank you so much for tuning into today's whistle review. Today I'm comparing the difference between two different woods, but whistles from the same company. So a few weeks back I reviewed the Harmony Ashwood High D, which was sent direct to me from Harmony Flutes. And today I'm actually reviewing the narrow bore Rosewood High D whistle, which is also made by Harmony Flutes, but was actually sent to me from bigwhistle.co.uk. For those of you that don't know, bigwhistle.co.uk is a fantastic website based in the UK that stocks a whole load of really high quality tin whistles from makers all across the globe. So it's kind of useful if, like me, you are based in the UK, you can access instruments really quickly with fast postage and also avoiding some of the import fees from various foreign countries. So yeah, if you haven't checked out Big Whistle, I encourage you to do so. I'll leave the website linked in the description down below. Anyway, on with the review. I'll start by showing you some close-ups of these two whistles so you can see the difference in the look and finish of the woods, and of course the wide and narrow bore options of these two high D whistles. Now if I start with the Ashwood High D, you may have seen this a few weeks ago, you'll notice the signature widening of the whistle here at the tuning slide. That's kind of Harmony Flutes look. We have a different colour wooden block here, but the entire whistle is actually made from wood, including the blade. The only little bit of metal we have here is around the tuning slide for a bit of reinforcement and to make it look really nice when it's finished. Now if I show you the Rosewood High D whistle, you'll notice the finish is a little bit different. It's got a bit more of a sheen to it than the Ashwood, which is more matte. It's a richer, deeper colour. You've got the beautiful wooden patternings here that you've also got on the Ashwood whistle as well. The wooden block on the mouthpiece here is the same colour. Again, we have a wooden blade, and the signature style, logo and metal parts around the tuning slide. Again, it's a wooden tuning slide and it's bound here to keep it nice and tight. But in general, the main body of the whistle, the bore, is narrower, and this design, the narrow bore whistle, just gives it an overall different shape. It will, as you'll notice in a moment, change the sound somewhat as well. It's also ever so slightly longer than the wider bore High D whistle, but that's the two whistles together. Now I love the fact that these whistles are tunable. It really helps, especially if you're playing for longer periods. Whistles in materials that are subject to temperature fluctuations and changes in their pitch when you're playing in different temperatures, it's really useful to have that little tuning slide. What happens is they're usually tuned a little bit sharp when they're fully pushed in, and then you can adjust those tuning slides to flatten the pitch a little bit and just be in tune with anybody else you're playing with. Now, one thing to note about wooden whistles, if you're considering buying one, is that they do have an extra level of care required to keep them playing at their best. Wooden whistles do need to be oiled from time to time in order to keep them from cracking and drying out. They also need to be allowed to fully dry out after use so that you don't store these with any leftover moisture within the whistle. Obviously, if these get too wet, the wood can swell and warp. You don't want to be leaving these in high temperatures or very low temperatures, so you really need to look after wooden whistles if you're going to purchase them. Also, the blade on these whistles is made of wood, so if you damage that blade in any way, get a little dent or nick in that blade area, you risk ruining the beautiful sound that these whistles make. So if you are considering a wooden whistle, just be aware that there is an extra level of care and maintenance almost in order to keep these whistles playing at their best. Now the narrow bore and the difference in wood between the Rosewood and the Ashwood High D whistles basically changes the overall tonality of the whistle. Each of these have quite a different sound to them, and I think you'll find that really interesting. So I'll give the two of these a little play for you now on the same tune, and you can see what you think. Now, one of the things I didn't mention earlier on was the windway on these varies in width. As you can see, the Ashwood whistle has a wider windway, and the Rosewood whistle has a narrower windway. Now, the change in the size of the windway does affect the way that these whistles play. It will change the back pressure of the whistle somewhat, and I always find back pressure counterintuitive. I find that whistles with narrower windways are easier to hit the high notes on, because I guess I need to blow more forcefully or more directly to get my air through that whistle, and I find it so much easier to hit high notes on whistles like this. Whereas the more open windway generally for me feels like I need to put more breath through that open windway, and because I'm using more breath rather than a faster air speed, I always find it more difficult to hit the high notes on whistles with wider windways. The Rosewood narrow bore whistle, it's generally quieter. I think the sound is a little bit sweeter, probably because it's a little bit quieter. Generally, I prefer how responsive this one is, how easy it is for me to hit the high notes on this whistle. Yeah, for me, the Rosewood is more suitable for my style of playing than the Ashwood. The Ashwood, on the other hand, is generally louder. The sound perhaps is a little bit more full and mellow, but what I find is that it takes more air and you have less available to play around with because you need to put more air through the whistle in general to get it to make sounds. Now, as you can see in here, the differences between these two whistles tuning-wise, when they're both fully closed, we're not using any length on the tuning slide at all. They're a little on the sharp side, especially in the second octave. Again, as I said, that means you can use the tuning slide to adjust these whistles to perfect pitch, flatten or sharpen them. It means you can also play them on the sharp side or on the flat side if you're playing with other instruments that are tuned in that way, which I think is a really great feature. Now, if you are interested in these whistles, you can find more information about current price and all the different keys and features available, all the different woods you can buy. You'll find more information directly on the Harmony Flutes website. Or of course, if you're ready to buy and you're based in the UK and you want to take advantage of getting your instrument in the post tomorrow, receiving your order a lot more quickly and potentially avoiding any import fees, then I've also put the bigwhistle.co.uk website in the description as well. Please do go and check those out and you'll be able to find out a lot more about these beautiful instruments. Now, I did mention in the initial review of the Ashwood High D whistle that I'd also been sent a wooden Irish flute, and this is that beautiful wooden Irish flute. I haven't reviewed this instrument, and the reason being that I don't play Irish flute. I have no expertise in how well this plays in comparison to other Irish flutes out there, but one thing I will say is it is absolutely beautiful. I'll show you some close-ups of this now and I will attempt to play it as well. And then you'll see what I mean. Now, this flute comes in multiple parts. You have the wooden mouthpiece here with a reinforced metal top and tuning slide area here. The beautiful shaped tuning slide section here, and this is where you can do a little bit of tuning. You can do some here as well if you require. Mostly this is so that you can take this instrument apart for easy maneuvering and storage. You can take it with you. It also makes it easier to clean, which is fantastic. Now, for those of you that don't know, Irish flutes have the same fingering as tin whistle. You can actually hit all of these holes here with the pads of your fingers, but I would use a half piper's grip, so I'd probably use piper's grip on the one side, not so much on the left hand or the top hand. The hold, obviously, as this is a transverse flute, it means it's a side-blown flute rather than an end-blown flute. It means the hand positioning is a little bit different, and it does take a bit of getting used to. You'll also notice that there are 2 extra holes at the end here. These are tone holes, and they're not to be used or not to be covered. They're sort of helping with the overall pitch and sound that is coming from the instrument. We have a nice little bit of shaping here. It goes narrower, just then widens out for a little fluted end, which is really nice. And honestly, it just looks fantastic. I really wish I could play it well enough to make it sound as fantastic as I'm sure it does, but I'll give a little play now and you'll see what I mean. So as I'm not experienced enough to get the beautiful sound out of this instrument, as I know full well it is capable of, I've decided to actually give this away in a competition that I'm running this month. If you haven't seen that competition, you can find more information up here on the little eye. At the end of the video, I'll put a link and in the description down below as well, where you could win this Irish flute and hopefully play it an awful lot better than I can. If you're interested to be in with a chance of winning this Irish flute, then do check out that competition linked in the description down below. It is open throughout all of April 2024. It doesn't matter where you are in the world, and the winner will be drawn at random, live on camera. So good luck if you're entering. You'll find out more information linked in the description down below. I really hope this video was helpful in just giving you an idea of how different woods can make different sounds, how different designs can change the playability of a whistle. If you'd like to watch my initial video review on the Ashwood High D, you'll find that right here on screen, alongside a few other tunes. Today I was playing Lothlorien by Enya. You'll find the tutorial right here. Thank you so much for watching. Happy whistling, and I'll see you folks again soon. Bye!